Hey boyos, Thaladin here. Alright, let's cut to the chase. Endwalker got delayed from November 19th for early access and November 23rd for full access to December 3rd and December 7th, respectively. Okay, we got that out of the way. Let's look at the reasons why. This was announced at the live letter that happened on November 5th, exactly 2 weeks before the release of the early access. There was a lot in that live letter, so I found the community post that Yoshida put out to kind of like go through it. So I want to look at it, go through the reasons. I know that this is very disappointing news for anybody who is really looking forward to Endwalker, especially those who might have taken PTO from their work. I did that. I have had scheduled a week and a half off for Endwalker, and so I am currently trying to see if that can be adjusted. And okay, dead ass. I heard a ding from my work computer, and I looked over and it said, "Yeah, sure, you can move your time off." I'm good. What great timing! Oh man. But a lot of people aren't quite as lucky as I am. A lot of people, especially around the holiday season, can't move around their PTO. Very unfortunate. I don't want to detract from that plight as we're going in and looking at the reasons. But I do think that in general, delaying a game for quality is significantly better than releasing it broken. It's just how close it was to the launch. I think that is the issue more than just like the 2-week delay itself. But let's look at the actual community post. First and foremost, I would like to extend my thanks to everyone playing Final Fantasy XIV and looking forward to our upcoming expansion pack Endwalker. However, it is with great regret that I must inform you of some unfortunate news just before our scheduled launch date, and I would like you to read the following in full. So pay attention, guys. Pay attention. I'm reading it for you, so turn on your ear holes. I am incredibly sorry to share this so close to launch, but I've decided to postpone the release of Endwalker. The original release date was scheduled for Tuesday, November 23rd, 2021, but I have decided to delay the release by 2 weeks. As such, the expansion pack will now be released on Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. There are several reasons for this postponement, but as I am the one overseeing all aspects of the title as the head of the project, the responsibility falls solely on me. Allow me to convey my sincerest apologies to our players, our warriors of light around the world who have been looking so forward to the release of Endwalker. I am truly sorry. At the actual live letter when this was announced, Yoshi P looked devastated. I'm gonna be honest. He looked devastated to be delivering this news for a variety of reasons, I'm sure. This is probably the most high-profile expansion launch they've ever had. There's a lot of more new eyes on the game, and I think that leads into a lot of the reasons why they wanted to delay it, but it's very hard to delay something that is such a sensitive launch, you know? Here are the reasons for the schedule change. The biggest factor behind the release date change was my own selfishness as the game's director. Ever since I was placed in charge of the original Final Fantasy XIV, I've continued the development and operations for Final Fantasy XIV over the past 11 years, while always endeavoring to balance my position as the producer overseeing the project and the director in charge of development. If you've ever watched the No-Clip documentary on the development of 1.0 and 2.0, it's a very good watch, but it also shows just how hands-on Yoshida has been since the game's relaunch. I don't know if that's entirely the case, or I didn't know if that was entirely the case to this day, but this delay and the reasons for it kind of imply that maybe it is still, he's still just as hands-on as he was then. As I have mentioned previously in interviews and during live streams, Endwalker will be the largest expansion pack in the history of Final Fantasy XIV. It has been a huge undertaking, but we proceeded with development following plans that would allow us to make it in time for the originally scheduled release date, although admittedly everything would be right down to the wire. I am not surprised by that. However, as we neared the end of development, and I played through everything, from quests to battle content and the like, sorry, I know I'm going to just like simp super hard here, but the director and producer making sure to play through all of the content personally to see the quality is just, it's so nice to see. It's so nice to see. I just couldn't contain my desire to further improve Endwalker's quality, specifically because this expansion pack marks the first major culmination of events in Final Fantasy XIV so far. Even as we look beyond Endwalker, the Final Fantasy XIV story will continue for a long time, and we hope to deliver many more enjoyable experiences in the game. However, it is precisely because Endwalker concludes the first major saga that I felt our team needed to push ourselves to the limits that I envisioned. As a result, we remain firmly resolved to adjust down to the smallest nuances and ensure our writing covers even the finest points of the vast and intricate story that has spanned these past 11 years since the original Final Fantasy XIV, to ensure that everyone can fully enjoy their adventure in Endwalker. I like that he calls this out, because there is nothing more infuriating than plot holes in a narrative experience like Final Fantasy XIV is. Their writing has been phenomenal up until this point, and so them calling out that they wanted to make sure the writing was perfect. Oh, again, simping super hard over here. Not happy about the delay, but I would rather a good game be delayed than a bad game be released. Unfortunately, the consequence of this was that we ended up in a situation where we cut into the time required for final quality assurance, or more commonly QA, checks due to this time spent on additional improvements. If you don't know what quality assurance is, you're not in a tech field or not familiar, that's testing. That's testing and making sure shit ain't broke. At this rate, there was a bigger risk of us reaching the release date without ensuring stability as one form of quality. And that's important. If you were here for Raubahn EX and Stormblood, stability is very important. And for that reason, I've decided to postpone the release at this time. As we also anticipate large amounts of congestion across the game worlds, I felt that even in this respect, it wouldn't be right for us to release the expansion while lacking adequate stability. I am truly sorry. No, that is a good point. The game needs to be stable because we have a lot more eyes on it coming from other expansions, particularly the big WoW Exodus. And it's just a lot more in the public eye, and we don't want to have another Raubahn EX. For those who aren't aware, in Stormblood, the servers got so congested when doing a story instance that people had to wait hours and hours just to progress the main storyline. And it happened pretty early on, so people couldn't splinter out. That's actually why Shadowbringers has 2 starting zones. Once you get into it, you can go either to Marang or you can go to Kalusia. It's so that it would split the players into different zones. When I look at my own career up until now, I've never postponed a previously announced release date, although I did one shift a release from spring to early summer. And when I also considered that many players had already made arrangements such as taking days off work in preparation for the original release date, I was incredibly torn between whether or not we should cut down the expansion pack's volume or even release content in installments. As such, I humbly ask you to forgive me for this decision I've made. Again, this man was devastated on stage. Not to just and I know emotional responses aren't the end-all be-all when people's work-life balance is on the line and all that jazz, but these are also human beings working on the game, and it's okay to be upset about the delay, especially if you took time off, because it is a service that they are providing, but these are also human beings that have an emotional attachment to their work, and they are probably rather devastated by this, because this is their art in a lot of ways. So to delay it and to miss a target, it does not feel good. If you've ever been in any sort of project management field, to miss a target date about something that you're passionate about is not a good feeling at all. But the final remarks in looking towards the future. While we have postponed the release date by 2 weeks, I believe we have been able to successfully depict Endwalker's story, because we set forth on this long journey developing and operating Final Fantasy XIV together with the players. While we will require a little longer until the expansion pack's release, please rest assured that we will continue investing every ounce of our strength into development and operations in order to deliver an immersive adventure to our players. Once more, I would like to convey my sincerest apologies for the inconvenience caused to our players and colleagues due to my own shortcomings. It's a very Japanese way of taking responsibility. I sincerely apologize for this decision. Obviously, it's probably not just Yoshida's fault. But in a way, as the producer and director of the game, the responsibility does fall on him. Whether we want to splinter that out to maybe some of its other root causes or not, when you are leading a project, the responsibility does fall on you. And this is not to send hate to Yoshida or anything, but this apology means a lot because I have to think about how to word it. It is probably not actually Yoshi P's fault that the thing is delayed, but it is his responsibility. Or maybe it is his fault. He said that he wanted to be nitpicky about it. But either way, even if it was not necessarily his fault, because, COVID has been going on, operations changing has been a big thing. I know server stability has been really difficult because they can't get the servers. Even if it's not his fault, it is his problem, as is the case with managing any large project. But this level of transparency and openness, and apologizing for the release date being moved instead of just being like, well, suck it, is good to see. It's the way that the Final Fantasy team has always communicated with its player base. It's the way that I hope they will continue to in the future. It's kind of why the community loves the development team so much. There's a very personal relationship. I can feel like Yoshi P's personality in the live letter, and this, even in this text update, the sense of responsibility and passion he has for the game. It's why the community is also so passionate about the game. But the final line: we will continue to do our utmost to bring you the best experience, not only in Endwalker, but also through further updates in the content that will follow, restoring your trust one step at a time. Yoshi P! The crazy thing is that looking at the community, there are people that are justifiably upset because they have taken time off, they made arrangements, or they won't be able to take the time off in the future because of, retail work or other fields that are particularly sensitive to the holidays. But I haven't actually seen anybody say like, oh man, I'll never trust Square Enix again, which is a testament to the extreme good faith and goodwill that they've built up over the years. Yeah, I don't think many people have lost faith in Final Fantasy XIV because of this choice. I think some people are justifiably disappointed, mostly understanding, mostly wanting there to just be a good game. But I think that I don't think Final Fantasy XIV has lost as much goodwill as Yoshi P might think from this. Even though it is a notable event in Final Fantasy XIV's history to be delayed. But what do you guys think? Do you who took off time for the expansion? Let me know in the comments below. But what do you think? Is it better? Would it have been better, in your guys' opinion, for them to cut down on the amount of content and release it on time, or to delay it by just 2 weeks? 2 weeks is kind of a small delay. It's really, the issue is how close it was to the launch. But the 2 week, or would you prefer the 2 week delay? I prefer the 2 week delay, personally. I'm lucky that I was able to shift my PTO literally in this video. But I prefer that the game be its best self and really stand up to the test of time. But that's all for this video. Endwalker has been delayed. It's 2 weeks later. December 3rd and 7th are the new release dates. Very cool. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.